Welcome to Specific Love. Today I want to show you how I made this awesome double dog bed. Now I was commissioned by some customers to go out to Arizona to make this awesome little dog bed that would sit at the base of their bed so that both of their dogs could lay on it at the same time. Also while out there I went to a few different events and I'll show you some of that cool footage at the end of this video. Now first off, for this video I only had my GoPro camera and my phone, so the video quality for this isn't going to be as great as normal, so please be understanding about that. Also, I only had two main tools. That was this circular saw and this drill. Now this won't be the fanciest construction, but I do want to show you that you can build this awesome project with minimal tools. Now with that said, let's begin. Now this customer did not have a good place to build this project, so most of this was constructed in their driveway and the sidewalk. For that reason, I used a thick piece of foam insulation as the base to make all of my cuts. I just adjusted the depth of the circular saw for each cut so that it was only slightly deeper than the wood. For the frame of the bed, I started by cutting down some 2x4s to be 1.5 inches shy of the total width. Now the total width of the bed was 75 inches, so I decided to cut a third board for added support in the middle. I then trimmed the side pieces and took everything out to the sidewalk because it was flatter than our driveway. I used some of the wood scraps to align the boards as straight as possible before screwing everything in place. Now I slowly drilled one pilot hole and installed a screw. I did this one at a time, which took a while, but it allowed me to keep every corner as flush as possible because I did not have any large clamps. And the frame turned out great. Next step was cutting the boards that would support the soft bedding and dogs. I needed a bunch of these, so I got some help holding down boards and I sliced 2 of them at a time. I then laid them in place with a slight gap in between to allow for airflow under the bed. At this point I decided to add some legs to lift the bed off the carpet, which would allow for easier cleaning underneath and possible storage for dog toys. So I used some of the leftover 2x4s to make the legs heavy duty and sanded them smooth with 120 grit paper. Around this time the customer found 2 seat clamps which allowed the leg install to be much easier. So I flipped the bed back upright and my wife helped me hold down the top boards so I could tap several holes in one pass and then install the screws without concern for movement. Now you could stop at this point and have a nice dog bed, but this customer had some nice furniture in their home, so I needed to add some finishing touches. For the back and sides of the bed I cut down some 1x6 boards to add a small wall to help prevent the bedding from slipping off. But for the front, I used a 1x5 board which covered the front of the bed but minimalized the wall the dogs would have to step over. I installed all of the side pieces with a minimal amount of screws and using C-clamps to hold them in place. I then went over all of the sharp edges with 120 grit sandpaper and used a leaf blower to get rid of the dust. For the bedding, we used some outdoor seat pads. These pads should be easy to clean after the dogs get them dirty. They also had tie-down strings which made them much easier to attach to the bed. We also got some indoor-outdoor toss pillows that goes well with the customer's furniture. We then took the bed inside for a test fit to replace the huge dog pillows in their bedroom. And it fit perfect at the base of the master bed. And the dogs appeared to enjoy it too. We then decided to stain the bed to better match the rest of their furniture. My wife applied a dark ebony color which turned out awesome. Unfortunately, we had to leave before the stain fully dried, so I do not have footage of it in the bedroom. But you can just imagine what the finished product looks like. Now if you enjoyed this video, make sure you click the like button and tell me what you think about it in the comments. Now, let's move on to the rest of the trip. I got to visit a nice maker fest that included several cool and unique projects. Many of them were hands-on, which allowed anyone to join in and get those creative juices flowing. I also picked up a few ideas for future projects. After that event, we headed up to the Grand Canyon, which is so amazing that this camera footage cannot even come close to what it feels like in person. And we also took a trip to Sabino Canyon.
Hey guys! So sometimes when you're in the middle of a project, you just have to get away and clear your mind. The project can seem so big, but if you get out here in nature, you realize that the project is small. Mountain, big. So we'll get back to work and enjoy this beautiful walk.
I'm out here in the middle of the desert, and believe it or not, I have an awesome oasis behind me. Now, that is a bunch of water to be in the middle of the desert. That is awesome. Alright, if you notice, I'm in the middle of the desert, but there are a bunch of large trees in this oasis.
Now this was one of the first times I traveled for a project, so I wanted to include some of that travel aspect in the video here. But I want to get your opinion. Do you want more of that if I go and travel, some of the stuff that's going on? Or do you mean just to eliminate it altogether and only have the project? Please let me know in the comments. Now as always, have fun building.